Hello, my friends, and welcome to O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Today, we are going to talk about the best match types in wrestling video game history. That's right. Huge topic, very fun. If you are a professional wrestling fan, or if you grew up in the PlayStation era, I suppose, you'll know this. You will definitely have a spike of nostalgia. If you are like me and you grew up in the Nintendo era, which doesn't sound that old to me, but I'm sure there are people listening right now like, what is a Nintendo? There are other games that you'd probably put on this list, but I guarantee you that the match types I say right now into your ear faces will make you wish that the 2K games went back to those types of matches. I'm not saying the 2K games are bad, but they could use a bit of they could go back to the past to get some innovation, I would say. Anyway, let's cover some of these matches. Number one, backstage brawls. In WWF SmackDown, Just Bring It. Back in the day when The Rock's catchphrases owned all of the video games. Just Bring It was a fantastic game. I believe Here Comes the Pain, which is widely regarded as the best SmackDown, came after this one, but Just Bring It was the progenitor. It's the one that kind of started kicking stuff off. They threw a ton of match types in there, but the backstage brawls were definitely a highlight. And I'm choosing this because when I played Just Bring It with Dad's First Time way back in the day, make sure to check out Dad's First Time, twitch.tv/Dad's First Time, or find them on YouTube. We played the ever-loving heck out of that backstage brawl. There was a WWE cafe / WWE restaurant. I think it was a Planet Hollywood that was converted to a WWE shop, store, whatever, that the company, they really wanted to make money off of it. So much so that they would use it in backstage segments. They would put it on the show. They would hold events there, and they stuffed it in the video game. So if you were to do a backstage brawl and work your way through the arena and go through one of the it was amazing. You could go through doors and go to other parts of the arena till you got outside, and you would be in Times Square. Regardless of where the show was happening, you would end up in Times Square. You would teleport you there, and you can fight outside of the WWE restaurant or whatever. I can't remember what it was called. But you can climb the awning and jump off of it. At some point, a helicopter would fly by. You can grab onto a ladder that was hanging off of it and do moves on that. Cars would drive by and knock you down. It was chaos and amazing. It was one of the best match types that they had in the game. We would do it just so that we could see how much punishment we could dish out and take before someone got pinned. It usually wasn't even us. We wouldn't even pin anybody. The computer would pin someone because we'd be diving off stuff and trying to harm one another. Great fun time. In that vein, one of the next best match types was special ref matches. Now, I don't know why these went away. These aren't in any of the games that are kind of floating around these days, but special ref match types were fantastic for screwing your friends over. All you had to do was set up a scenario where your friend was player one. They would face the computer, and the computer would be some, I don't know, jobber. So whoever was bad in the game. And then you would be the special ref and just slow count everything. I mean, anytime your friend would just whoop on the opponent, because obviously they would, and get them to red or whatever the life was, and then go for the pin. There's no better joy than one counting until the computer kicked out. And it would be a long time. Like you would just one and then lift your arm and then just leave it there. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Dad's First Time and I screwed each other over in that way. We never counted for each other. Never. Not once. Why would you? That's the fun. It was a great match type. You would have a blast just trying to get the computer to screw your friend over, because once the computer went for a pin, that's time to fast count. You would mash the button like 1, 2, 3, end the match. to see see if your friend could kick out. It was, I mean, this is all sort of like couch co-op type stuff, but I'm sure you could do it online. But the fact that there is no special referee match in like 2K games is mind-boggling to me. If you can do a handicap match, or you can do a 1v1v1, I think you can do that in the 2K games. I'm not sure. I haven't played one in a while. But you can do a special ref match. Just do what they did and slap a generic shirt over the person. That was the best part, is the old SmackDown games had like bodies. They would just swap bodies. The body that had the referee shirt would just get put on the person. So Mankind would all of a sudden lose a bunch of weight, or Vinnie Mac would lose a bunch of muscle. And they would just have this really weird shirt on. It was fantastic. Moving on. Next, obviously, Royal Rumble. We won't spend too much time on this. The Royal Rumble is obviously the marquee match in any wrestling game. It's just fun. There's a reason why every wrestling game YouTuber uses Royal Rumble as their content create. It has the most potential for random wrestling chaos that is akin to that you would see on TV, right? You can do like in the 2K games, the universe mode or whatever, but it doesn't have the same kinetic feel as a Royal Rumble, nor does it have the same excitement. You never know who's going to jump in, and especially if you randomize. What we would do is we would randomize the people coming in. We wouldn't look at who it was, so we'd end up fighting a bunch of weird created characters. It's fantastic. You know it. I know it. Go play a Royal Rumble right now. Next, WWF Warzone / Attitude Hardcore matches. Now, I picked this as a purely nostalgia pick because I can't recommend you actually play these matches or these two games. They're awful. They do not age well, but they are definitely a part of my youth. And again, Dad's first time and I would sit there and play these crazy hardcore matches in Attitude specifically. And we did it for one reason. There was a weapon in that mode that was a microphone. And anytime you landed a hit with the microphone, it would make the wildest sound. It was the funniest sound. And the whole match, we would be looking for that mic. And the moment someone got the mic, it was over. The day was over. We were cackling every time someone got hit with the mic. Ugh, I miss wrestling games. And lastly, I Quit matches. The reason I picked this is purely for the unique novelty of these matches. I believe they were in the early SmackDown games. What it is basically it's a submission match, but the key was you had to actually walk over and pick up a mic, walk over to your opponent, and they had to say "I quit" into the mic, which I don't quite remember how that worked. I think it depended on how beat up you were, but you couldn't knock them out. You couldn't submit them. You had to make them say "I quit," which was always a crapshoot. I think it was randomized. It was dependent on, like, again, how messed up you were from the match. So the novelty of that is just weird. And I'm telling you, man, those old SmackDown games are triumphs. They tried a lot of, Ukes really put a lot of work into those games. They were like, what else can we do? How can we push this system? How can we get the most out of the system? They made the most of the engine that they had, and they put out some dope games. Again, not taking anything away from the 2K games now. They're, great technical triumphs, but there's just there's innovation in those Ukes games that just haven't been replicated, and they should be in the 2K games. All right. What are your favorite wrestling game match types? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. These 10-minute wrestling podcasts are really fun to do. I hope you're enjoying them. Please subscribe on any podcast platform or go to our YouTube page if you're not already on it and hit the bell so you get notifications when the new episode is live. I'll keep doing them if you keep listening. Thank you so much. This has been the O Wrestling Podcast. Oh, and go to owrestling.com for more. That's it. 10 minutes. I have a couple seconds left. I'm your friend.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.